Pierogi are without a doubt Poland's most famous dish, the ultimate, universally beloved comfort food. A book about Polish cuisine for foreigners could be entitled, Not Only Pierogi, since they seem to be all everyone loves and talks about. Their worldwide popularity is not surprising, as most nations have their own version of a filled pasta. And that's precisely what pierogi are, delicious boiled pastry parcels filled to the brim with all sorts of yummy things, cheese and potato, sauerkraut and mushrooms, meat, spinach, lentils, sweetened farmer's cheese or berries. Always a perfect balance of the familiar and the exotic. I too remember my grandma's kitchen, and how she taught me to make pierogi. Babcia Teresa was an excellent cook and she taught me so many tricks of the trade, yet it was the way she made pierogi dough that I remember best. She told me to only use flour, hot water and a bit of salt. People sometimes add egg as well, a common Polish controversy. How thinly the dough should be rolled, how the circles should be cut out with a glass, exactly how much cheese and potato filling to put in, and, finally, how to pinch the sides together so they wouldn't come apart while boiling. I know that this memory of babcias and pierogi is a common one. Pierogi are the ultimate taste of home, an extremely nostalgic and fulfilling comfort food. The ingredients used to make them are quite simple, yet the dish is labor-intensive, so nowadays people rarely make them home. And so, for many of us pierogi making remains a distant and delicious memory, which we come back to when quickly reheating store-bought pierogi in a pan. You can find versions of Poland's favorite dumplings throughout Europe, most notably in neighboring Belarus, Slovakia, and Ukraine. Each of these has its own name or variation of spelling for these Moorish snacks. You'll be ordering pierogi in Slovakia and pieroga in Germany, while Canadians and Americans, who trace their roots back to Poland and Ukraine, have developed a long-term love affair with homemade pierogies. In fact, Canadians love pierogies so much, that the small town of Glendon in Alberta erected a 27-foot-tall statue of a pierogi in 1993. The United States went as far as declaring October 8 National Pierogi Day. This gives you an idea of this much-loved dish's popularity and heritage. Regardless of how you choose to spell it, pierogi are the very definition of comfort food. Think pillow-soft dumplings, oozing butter, filled with deep flavors and often served with a smorgasbord of toppings or sides, often crispy bacon and sour cream. The word pierogi, and its half-dozen variant spellings, comes from the Slavic word pier, meaning festivity or festival, and there's no doubt that Polish pierogi is a favorite dish for any celebration. Christmas pierogi are often filled with sauerkraut and mushrooms, whilst Easter pierogi are stuffed potato and cheese. Important events like weddings or wakes also call for their own special type of pierogi. Best of all, seasonal fruits like plums, apricots, blueberries, cherries and strawberries can elevate humble homemade pierogis to a whole new level of deliciousness. Just add a dollop of cream and a sprinkle of sugar, and you've got the perfect dessert, come winter or summer. The secret to delicious homemade pierogis, baked or fried, is in the dough. For the softest, lightest dough, whatever combination of flour, water, eggs, salt or butter the recipe calls for, remember to knead gently. Pierogis that are overhandled will tend to be heavy and chewy. So, make sure you apply the deftest touch and knead as gently as possible before allowing the dough to rest. Don't be put off. Although pierogi fans insist the technique is easy to learn, you might want to leave it to the experts. Homemade pierogis eaten in Poland are hard to beat, but not as tough to eat. Finally, our favorite fillings? Try these irresistible combinations. Mashed potatoes and cream cheese, also known as Ruski pierogi or Russian pierogi. Or with cheese and onion. Or with sauerkraut. Cooked mincemeat with sauerkraut and mushrooms. Slow roasted meat, of your choice, and potato. Potato, mushroom and caramelized onion. Cheddar pierogi with sage butter sauce. Spinach and artichoke pierogi. Lemon blueberry pierogi with sugar and cream. During the holiday season, every ethnic group has a special tradition. For example, every year on Christmas Eve we celebrate the Feast of the Seven Fishes, which is an Italian-American tradition of eating 7 different seafood dishes. Growing up half Polish, certain foods were also popular during the holidays. One dish is pierogi, unleavened dumplings that are filled, boiled, and then either served with butter or fried until crisp. While pierogi can, and should, be enjoyed throughout the year, many Polish families serve them during the holidays as a special treat. Now, I should clarify that I'm talking about homemade pierogi, not the frozen kind you can get in your supermarket freezer section. While this might be fine in a pinch, nothing can take the place of the homemade version, cheese, sauerkraut, and prune pierogi courtesy of a family feast. Pierogi can be filled with a variety of savory and sweet ingredients. Potato and cheese filling is probably the two most common and popular, but sauerkraut and onion filling is a must-try. That's the version I grew up eating and still make to this day. There is also a dessert recipe that uses a sweet prune filling with lemon juice, sugar, and butter. The site I'm sharing provides all 4 recipes: potato, cheese, sauerkraut, and prune, as well as a recipe for the dough. However, I do want to share with you another option for a lighter dough if you would prefer that option. This is the dough I use. It's closer to a pasta dough and I find that it boils and fries up much lighter than any other version I've tried. Pierogi dough makes roughly 80 pierogi. 6 cups flour. 6 eggs. 6 tablespoons water. Use your food processor. Put flour into food processor and pulse a couple of times. In a small bowl, beat your eggs with 6 tablespoons water. As the food processor is spinning, add egg mixture. After spinning 30 seconds, you should be able to tell if you need to add another tablespoon of water. If there is a lot of dry flour at the bottom of the food processor, add another tablespoon and spin again. Take off the lid and feel the dough. It should be moist, but not too sticky. Turn onto a floured surface and knead for about 5 to 8 minutes. Wrap in plastic wrap and let sit for half an hour. Please note you may have to do this in batches if you don't have enough room in the food processor. Pierogi, pierogi, are filled dumplings made by wrapping unleavened dough around a savory or sweet filling and cooked in boiling water. They are often then pan-fried before serving. Pierogi are most often associated with the cuisine of Central and Eastern European nations. Pierogi are also popular in modern-day American cuisine, where they are sometimes known under different local names. The English word pierogi comes from Polish pierogi, pierogi, which is the plural form of pierog, pruk, a generic term for filled dumplings. It derives from Old East Slavic, pyru, and further from Proto-Slavic pier, feast, 9. While dumplings as such are found throughout Eurasia, the specific name pierogi, with its Proto-Slavic root and its cognates in the West and East Slavic languages, including Russian, pirog, pie, and pierogi, baked pastries, shows the name's common Slavic origins, antedating the modern nation-states and their standardized languages. In most of these languages the word means pie. Origin legends. While the origin of the pierogi is often under debate, the exact origin of the dish is unknown and unverifiable. It likely originated somewhere in Central Europe or Eastern Europe, and has been consumed in these regions long before any of the present political nations existed. Today, it is a large part of many Central European and Eastern European cultures. One legend relates that in 1238, Hyacinth of Poland visited Kościelek, and on his visit, a storm destroyed all crops. Hyacinth told everyone to pray, and by the next day, crops rose back up. As a sign of gratitude, people made pierogi from those crops for Saint Hyacinth. Another legend states that Saint Hyacinth fed the people with pierogi during a famine caused by an invasion by the Tatars in 1241. One source theorizes that in the 13th century, pierogi were brought by Hyacinth from the Far East, Asia, via what was then the Kievan Rus. Some believe pierogi came from China via Marco Polo's expeditions through the Silk Road. None of these legends is supported by evidence, such as the etymological origin of the root pyru - common fillings. Pierogi may be stuffed, singularly or in combinations, with mashed potatoes, fried onions, quark or farmer cheese, cabbage, sauerkraut, meat, mushrooms, spinach, cheese, or other ingredients depending on the cook's preferences. Dessert versions of the dumpling can be stuffed with sweetened quark or with a fresh fruit filling such as cherry, strawberry, raspberry, blueberry, apple or plum. Stone prunes are sometimes used, as well as jam. Polish history of pierogi. Traditionally considered peasant food, pierogi eventually gained popularity and spread throughout all social classes including nobles. Some cookbooks from the 17th century describe how during that era, the pierogi were considered a staple of the Polish diet, and each holiday had its own special kind of pierogi created. Different shape.